Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This time we have Vice President Kamala Harris up against Governor Chris Sununu of the state of New Hampshire. So again, Sununu is more of a moderate type of Republican, but I don't think he would be as despised as like someone like Larry Hogan or something like that. I think he would still be able to unite most of the GOP base, similar to what Brian Kemp did in Georgia. I still think he'd be able to get most of their votes anyway. So let's just start off with these first few states. Just fill in all the safe blue ones. Okay, I'll start off with Connecticut, New Jersey, and Delaware. I think both these states would go to the likely column. Harris probably wins them to 8 to 9 points, the high single digits. I just think Chris Sununu will be able to peel away a lot of those more moderate independents in those states, but he wouldn't be able to turn them into swing states. They'll still be likely blue. Colorado, still likely blue. It's just trending very, very Democratic. But again, Chris Sununu would peel away a lot of moderate independents his way, but not enough to win the state. New Mexico would also go down to a lean margin, but again, Harris still wins because Democrats just have a very huge advantage there. And Alaska, it's just straight up safe red. Harris has no chance of winning here against a more moderate Republican. Iowa and Ohio, again, Harris's favorability numbers in both these states are pretty terrible. And again, Sununu will be able to unite most Republicans in Iowa and Ohio. In Florida, I think Sununu would probably win it in the high single digits, probably an 8 to 9 point victory, because again, Florida's just trending super Republican nowadays. Especially, you look at those party registration numbers, and it just gets worse for Democrats every month in the state of Florida. In Texas, I also think it would be like an 8 point victory for Chris Sununu. Again, unites most of the base there. In New Hampshire and Maine, I think New Hampshire would just be likely Republican. I think Sununu would have a very huge home state advantage here, especially as governor. They get a huge boost, and I think he'd be able to win the state by about 6 points against Harris. He would also narrowly win Maine against Harris by like a 2 point margin, I would say, just because of the home region advantage. Okay, these next few areas here. North Carolina and Georgia, I think both will still be about lean. North Carolina probably about 4. Georgia probably by about 3 points. He would get most of those suburban voters who voted for Brian Kemp in Georgia to probably still vote for him against Harris because of how unpopular she is. Again, in Arizona and Nevada, moderate Republicans really do extremely well in both these states, so I see Sununu also doing extremely well in both of them. In Nebraska's second as well, he's the perfect Republican to flip this district. They usually like the more moderate candidate in elections. And we're down to a few more states. Minnesota I still think it goes to Harris by about 3 points, while Chris Sununu wins in Wisconsin. Pennsylvania, again, just uniting most of the Republican base here, even the Trump voters. In Virginia, however, it's still a very Democratic state. I still think it would go to Harris by about 2 points, but he would make it very competitive. In the state of Michigan, I honestly see it going for Chris Sununu, even with a Democratic trifecta. I think he could definitely flip the state against her because I do think she has a vulnerability in those more Rust Belt states, especially because she isn't super too much of a populist on the issues. So I think she wouldn't do the best in those 3 states. But that's the end of this prediction, and I'll see you guys in the next video.